Previously on Entertain This, Tom ranted. Hayden got punished again. And Mitch talked about the Snyderverse.
In a world.
The best part about the Snyder Cut is we don't have to talk about the Snyder Cut
anymore. It's
Oh,
over.
yeah, we got today.
The Snyder
And then
Cut
I'll
is
let it
over.
go. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse.
Hashtag bring back Snyder Cut. Hashtag why no sequel.
Well, hello, and welcome to Entertain This, a podcast about movies, TV shows, and video games. This is episode 50.
Oh.
And we have done plenty of prep work for this episode, as you can tell. My name is Hayden, and with me I have
Tom.
and
Mitch, hello.
Oh my God.
Today we are going to be talking about video games.
In movies.
But mostly, like once we get
TV
through our punishments and our news and reviews, we'll talk about MMORPGs, which is a lot of abbreviations and whatnot. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Let me go ahead and Mitch, why don't you do our social media real quick?
Well,
You forgot the
first,
book.
First,
You forgot everything.
I did forget the book. But first, we have entertainthispodcast.com, which everyone should go look at. Everyone should try out.
And click on stuff.
Yeah, click on stuff.
Click on the things.
We've been putting the trailers and
clicking.
stuff of the things we've been talking about. We have all the podcasts. It has a little embedded podcast player where you can listen to everything that we've talked about,
Yeah.
all the episodes. We also have a section for, you can leave reviews. We can have another section where you can leave suggestions of what you'd like to hear, suggestions of punishments you'd like to have,
Yep.
see us or hear us watch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty neat. It's got all the links to all the social media on there, which is the Facebook group, which is Entertain This Podcast Group. Then we have the Entertain This page. We have the Instagram, which is entertain.this. And we have Twitter, which is
At this dot.
at this.entertain.
There you go. So you can comment your opinions on our Facebook page and the website.
Right.
So unlike Communist China, we'll let you say whatever you want in regards to what you think of our
Yeah,
podcast.
this is not Communist China. This is a dictatorship, though.
We might call you out in the podcast and laugh at you.
Apparently, there's an Entertain This for USA Today.
Oh,
Everybody's just bogarting our damn name.
darn it. Them posers. We should have done an LLC a while ago. But anyways, so let's go ahead and kick this off with the punishments. I got the double punishment. What? Tom's about to have it.
Evil Entertain This has a website.
No.
Yes, they do. But theirs is entertainthis.net.
Ah.
It's like, what is this,
That's
2001?
because we got the .com first. Because that was an option the other day.
They
when
must
I
be
looked.
really watching like what we're doing.
They just literally copy us the week
Jeez.
after. Because I got .com, .net, .org, and all that stuff was still available at the time.
And look at these bums.
These posers.
They just copied our website. Episodes, home, live stream. They got like an about with like pictures of their people.
Look at those nerds. Your
Born and raised in
glasses.
Cincinnati. Get out of here.
Yeah, who great came out of Ohio?
Nobody.
That could probably
Except
be
for me.
Every episode.
That's right.
Every episode, we have about 5 to 6 listeners
Ohio
from
shot
Ohio.
their wad with you.
That's the Ohio people. That's all they do. They just listen and then copy our stuff.
Yeah, posers. Anyways, so punishments. I got 2 punishments because I didn't do my homework on my last one. I had to watch Mr. T cartoon, which was really freaking hard to find. It ended up having to spend $2 to watch one episode.
Man, $2 whole.
Well, I don't want to spend any money if I don't have to.
That was the closest you ever got to doing a Christopher Walken impression. That wasn't bad.
So, and then I watched a TV show called Sanjay and Craig. So, I don't know. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, we might as well talk about the Mr. T because we've been waiting for this.
All right, Mr. T. So, this is like 1983 to 85. Yes. And
Pity's fools.
it's got this long, arduous opener where these kids are doing like gymnastic flips and whatnot. And one of them turns into Mr. T for some reason. And he's got a dog with a mohawk and this other little ginger kid that wants to be him and blah. So that's the opener.
Where are these kids' parents?
I don't know. I got a lot of questions, actually.
They're just hanging out
Were
with
their
Mr.
parents
T.
fools who got pitied?
Yeah, I guess so. I got a lot of questions. But so the episode that I watched was like the mysterious case of the missing golden medallion. You know,
It's around Mr. T's neck.
it was
This whole
kind of
time.
it was kind of funny when because there's a little live action thing, and I watched a compilation of all the live action Mr. T parts from the TV show, and you could tell they just got like licensing from a high school to film.
Is that what we watched here?
Yeah.
Where he's just giving out like all the stupid advice.
Sage advice of Mr. T.
Stay in drugs. Don't do milk.
But so like you could tell because it was all in like the football field, and like as the season progressed, like the sun went further down.
They just did it all on a Saturday.
You know. So, but anyway, so he gives his little sage advice about whatever medallions and stuff, and then like it opens the first episode with these kids doing gymnastics, and the new guy in the clique in the group wins the gold medal, but then out of nowhere, these burglars come up and steal all the medals, and they run off into an alley and just break them with hammers.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
take that.
So I guess that's called smash and grab.
Yeah, something like that. So the little ginger kid that wants to be Mr. T when he grows up, he says something like a knife through butter. I'm going to get these fools. And he chases off after him into the alley, and they like capture him and run off with him for some reason. I don't know why they have to kidnap a kid. But
this crime is escalating quickly.
The short of it is like they put they let a tractor trailer, they pull its parking brake, and Mr. T jumps on top of it, and he's able to like climb inside and steer it through a wharf. I don't know. So it goes into the water. Yeah. Chaos ensues.
Where are the police during all this?
There is never a cop in this entire show. They keep saying, call the police, and then the bad guys show up in the next scene after they capture them. So they capture the bad guys, they beat them up or whatever. They just usually sit on top of them. And then, like, they say, call the police. And then, like, the next scene, you see the same bad guys, like, beating up the kids or whatever. But
I'm refraining comments.
Well, let me just
between
finish.
police and Mr. T.
Yeah. Let me just finish my the spiel here. So the plot of the first episode is, and spoiler alert, if you're, I don't know, ever gonna watch this,
A Mr. T enthusiast.
Yeah. So they find this list that has all these addresses on there, and through like insane deductive reasoning, they decide that they're gonna go visit the addresses. I couldn't believe how far ahead they jumped on this plot, but yeah. So they go to the addresses. One of them's an arcade, and one of them is a trophy shop. And they find out that these villains had put some microfilm inside of a medal, and it accidentally got shipped out. So they've been going around to like all these parties and award ceremonies and just breaking the crap out of everybody's medals and and trying to find the microfilm that got put in one of them.
What was the microfilm for?
Well, the microfilm
JFK assassination.
The other address takes you to a castle for some reason.
In America?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a castle.
Sure, why not?
And then an arcade. I guess some rich man lives in the castle who hired the hooligans to get the medals and microfilm. And the arcade has that's where they find the little ginger kid that Mr. T, is inspired, probably beyond reasonable means. But anyway, the kid is like hiding it. They stuffed him inside of an arcade box. And you find out that they had stolen all of the source code for the video games so they could pirate them for millions of dollars, in the microfilm.
Okay.
Yeah.
In microfilm?
I don't know.
All
I think
right.
it's the 80s, and they just, like...
They're just making up technology.
Technology!
Yeah, because they said, oh, my goodness, millions of dollars of video games are on this thing, and the kids were, like, weirdly okay with turning
I mean,
it
how
over.
many games were there, though, back then?
There's arcades. and
Pac-Man.
stuff. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Centipede.
Mrs. Pac-Man,
Pong.
Galaga.
But it's the most obscure plot that I've ever heard, and I don't even think it works that way. Like, source code for video games of, like, an arcade station, whatever. That's not the goofiest part. The goofiest part is that they want to chase these bad guys that they seem to let go after every scene, and they beat them up by doing gymnastic stuff, like flipping and whatnot.
That beats them up.
Yeah. Mr. T, like, never really fights anybody except for sharks. He beats the crap out of sharks. He does not like sharks.
Where do sharks come into this picture?
Well, so, like, the microfilm falls into the water. One of the girls jumps in, and then sharks show up out of nowhere. So Mr. T jumps into the water and just starts punching the crap out of sharks. So I'm watching this with my kids, and, I did a little test. I gave my son the Switch and my daughter a tablet, and I wanted to see how far before they started not watching the show and playing their games or whatever. It wasn't within, like, 10 seconds of the opener before they were like,
This is horrible.
So, anyways, my daughter did see the part where Mr. T punches a shark, and she's like, "What did the shark do?" He's just living his life in the water, and Mr. T just pops in and punches him. I'm like, I'm sure there's a life lesson there. Sometimes you can mind your own business.
Don't punch sharks.
Yeah, don't punch sharks.
And then a Mr. T will show up and just punch the crap out of you. So that was the only part that really got to him. But other than that, they just didn't care. Then
Shark getting a whooping.
and at the end, he had some sage life lesson advice about accepting friends and whatnot. Your team can always you always have great friends, but your team can always grow. Mr. T, a pitied fool.
And sharks. I hate them.
Roll
And they
credit.
stink.
All right, so that was Mr. T. It was dope. I could see it lasted 3 seasons.
Did it really?
It did.
Wow.
I can see why nobody knows of this cartoon, and I don't blame you. But yeah. Next, I watched Sanjay and Craig. And Sanjay and Craig, the only way that I could explain the show is if like that dirty kid that was in 4th grade whose parents probably told him way too much information. He watched all the rated R movies and had a really adult sense of humor, and nobody could really hang out with him, because he was just over the top. It was like if they just held this kid down and made him give him a pitch for a TV show, and this was it. And they tried to figure out how to make it more appropriate, after the filtering and whatnot. That was Sanjay and Craig. Basically, Sanjay is this kid whose mom is a nurse at a hospital that specializes in butt transplants. And
A well-known speciality in all hospitals.
And Sanjay wants a pet, so he gets a snake named Craig from the pet store, and it talks, and everybody's okay with that, but they're trying to keep it a secret. I don't know why. I guess some people are allowed to know, some people are not. Chris Hardwick does the voice of the snake.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He wants to forget that.
I mean, I think that went 3 seasons too, Sanjay and Craig. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I looked at that show, there was multiple lists of worst TV shows of all time, and that one just kept popping up.
yeah,
I was
it wasn't terrible, but it was just bananas. I don't know what happened. They wanted to go see a butt transplant, so they disguised themselves as doctors, and they have a little fight between Sanjay and Craig in the middle of it, and Sanjay's like, "Well, at least I have arms." And then that was apparently really offensive to the snake, so they had to have a reconciling after all that. Some butt that they bring in to transplant, I guess the president has a butt emergency, so the doctor has to leave. So the 2 fake doctors that they're playing as decide that they're going to be the ones doing the butt transplant because, they're children. And a snake. And
A snake in a lab coat.
yeah, that's what it was. It was a snake with just floaty arms, and nobody asked
Pool
questions.
noodles.
He put a fake goatee on and whatever. Everybody was okay with it. But anyway, so the butt goes missing and they have to go chase it down the hospital, whatever. Anyway, it was just kind of gross, how over the top the animation was, the way they animated. The SpongeBob thing where they showed the painted portraits of all those super hyper detailed,
It's like Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, it was like Ren and
Yeah.
Stimpy.
Or
It was
what
like-
you said, cow and chicken.
Yeah, it was just how far can we push the envelope to get kids laugh but make parents go, I don't know.
We're not going to watch this anymore.
Yeah, so there was a lot of that. That was the first one. The second one, I was starting to fall asleep. I'm trying to remember what it was about. At one point, their neighbor, who apparently hates snakes, wants to prove that the snake talks. I don't know. It was weird. But for the most part, I was just there's some little things I laughed at. Their superhero is this guy named Hardlip. And he's this older TV stunt action man, and he rides in on a motorcycle, and he's got this giant swoop for hair,
Mm-hmm.
and he revs in, pulls up, gets off his motorcycle, and he takes his hair off, and you find out it's a helmet, and then he's got the same
haircut underneath.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny. And then
Lip.
yeah, but they both find out that their laughs are really annoying, so they go to a comedy club where the hard lip guy is comedicizing, and that I guess they piss him off because their laugh distracts the entire audience. There was a lesson to be learned about accepting your laugh or something.
Don't laugh weird. There you go.
Something like that.
Which of these shows was worse?
Oh, I don't know. I think Mr. T was pretty bad because you're gonna find very few people that will enjoy that. I think the Sanjay and Craig cartoon could apply to a current existing audience. I just feel like it's in that realm of cartoons that I'm too old to enjoy anymore. I just don't. I'm still Bugs Bunny and Dexter's Laboratory and stuff like that. All that stuff. The newer, just ADD riddled, just flashing lights and crazy screaming humor and stuff like that.
butt joke.
I think that's beyond me. I don't want to ever get that. And I don't want my kids to watch it either. I think that's just shallow, low hanging fruit humor. Butt stuff. So.
In other words, I win.
No. I give it to Mr. T. Yeah, it was worse. Just because I don't think there's anybody that can enjoy that.
Stay in drugs.
Yeah.
Don't do milk.
And the animation was so lazy for Mr. T. It was just people standing there and their mouths moving for like 30. It was like an old anime, So, all right, punishment's done. I'd say that they're both a 3.
A 3 with a at the end.
Moving on
to movies.
Yeah, let's do movies.
Who had movies?
The Snyder Cut.
Shut up. We're not talking about it again.
Yes, we are. I'm reviewing the Snyder Cut.
Get it out of the way.
Oh, are we? I thought we did that last time.
No, that was building up to the Snyder Cut. This is actual review of the movie.
Right.
And I actually watched it as well.
Unlike the Snyder Cut, you don't have 4 hours to explain it. So.
Yes.
All right, 2.5.
Yeah.
But anyways, I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
That's a pretty brief summary.
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
No, I mean, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that give it 10 out of 10. Let's see. A lot of people give it 10 out of 10. If I was saying as like just a DC fan of like the characters, I would give it a 10 out of 10. But as far as like a movie, I mean, it was great. They expanded on all the characters that the original cut you don't know anything about. They gave the villain an actual reason to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Did you see all the meme stuff that's popping up now with Steppenwolf, where he's
with
talking
his, like, teary eye?
with the big teary eyes, like the Puss in Boots thing?
I have character now.
Please let me come home.
Please, Mr. Darkseid.
But I mean, I really enjoyed it. I liked how they expanded on Cyborg's character. They expanded on the Flash's character. They actually delved into how the Flash's powers kind of work a little bit.
Yeah.
Electricity.
It's just to me. I mean, visually, I liked it a lot better. I don't know. I don't know how you describe it, but like Whedon's cut, it was all bright, cheery, bright colors and everything. I liked it more ground and realism, kind of like the Dark Knight series, where it's the coloring and stuff. It's more natural and realistic.
I'll agree with you on that. Just because like the Whedon cut, it was almost like too comic-y.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to go for.
They took a lot of the jokes out and stuff. Flash, he's kind of a comic relief character anyways, where he makes the little one-liners and stuff, but at least they toned it down a little for the Zack Snyder version.
I think that Whedon shot himself in the foot because A, he took the project and he wanted to make it his own, not Snyder's. So, and then B, they didn't want to budge on the deadline. So he had to basically redo the entire movie in half the time after Snyder had already started it. I mean, there was a lot of things that I saw in the Snyder Cut that was still in there from when I guess he shot it back when before Whedon.
Supposedly, this movie, there's nothing that Whedon shot that was in the movie. There's things that Whedon altered, like the fight with Superman.
The mustache.
Yeah,
the mustache.
When all the heroes are fighting with Superman after he becomes revived or whatever, that was in there, but that was Snyder shot that originally, and then Whedon just changed some scenes and stuff around.
You know what's crazy? If you think about it, that's the most expensive mustache in history. It's got to be.
I think it might be.
Because they spent like $4 million to CG it out.
Yeah.
And they spent how much money to redo all of the scenes to have him without a mustache for real?
You talking about the current version?
Yeah.
They spent $70 million on the entire movie as far as like.
It's all because of the mustache. So that's a
Production.
$74 million.
Just because he was under contract for the for Mission Impossible
Yeah,
because he had to have it.
It's the $74 million mustache man. There's a TV show about that coming out.
Now,
The $1 million mustache.
so far, the only other movie that has had more streams on its I guess first week of release is Wonder Woman 84. But that was on a Christmas day on the holiday, so
For
everybody was home.
HBO.
People are home.
No, streaming, like in general.
To include Netflix.
Yes, streaming.
I don't know about that.
Wonder Woman 84 had 2.2 million streams in the first week. This had 1.8 million streams, and it says the first 5 days.
That's actually, like, if you compare it to box office, though, that's not a lot.
Well.
You know, I wonder what Disney, and this is like, because again, streaming services, they don't release their information. They're not obligated to like they are for box office and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Disney has something better, or if Netflix does, and they just haven't told anybody yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
They said this beat out the Winter Soldier, the Falcon and Winter Soldier by about 0.5 million.
Wow.
So
Wow.
because it released the day Falcon Winter Soldier released on Friday, this released on Thursday last week.
Yeah. To be fair,
How long did you wait for this movie to come out?
When I found out it was actually coming out, since then. But before that, I was like,
Did it live up to the hype?
yes, to me. It's a lot better and more akin to what the characters are actually like, in my opinion.
I had no hype for this movie at all, but I will say it's better than the Whedon cut.
It's better than the Week Up, but it's still a long movie.
And, you know, now, real quick, back to my rating of giving it 8 out of 10. The reason I wouldn't give it anything higher, there are some CG where the characters look out of place. Like Cyborg, there's several times where he just looks, I don't know, it doesn't mesh with the rest of the film and the scene and the stuff all around.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes are kind of drawn out for what they are. Like when you got the women singing when Aquaman's leaving, it's like, okay, when are they going to stop going, oh?
Yeah, he's like gone, and the lady's just still like walking towards the ocean, just still singing. I'm just like, okay, this is a thing.
And we're moving on. We're moving on.
No, we're still doing this, I guess.
I saw a meme
All right.
that was talking about that scene. It says, this is the thirstiest woman ever. She's just singing and singing.
And he
she
picks
takes
up his
coat
sweater.
and
He's like,
smells it.
oh, that smells like Aquaman.
Yeah, what was that? Why is she just?
That was
whipping his
weird.
I don't know. It was a strange scene.
There's a funny meme about Aquaman like drinking his Jack Daniels before he gets consumed by the ocean, like that one shot, and he like throws it into the water. You see a bunch of fish like watch the water bottle fall down, or the Jack Daniels bottle, and like, F you, Aquaman, you don't represent us, because he's littering in the ocean.
It's like, hey.
And, you know, my hopes are not very high, but they said that the release the Snyder Cut or whatever hashtag on Twitter, it was I think like 0.3 million more than what Avengers Endgame had when it came out. But now the hashtag restore the Snyderverse is like doubled the release the Snyder Cut version.
I'm sure they'll do something.
I'm hoping, even if it's an HBO Max series, I like that version of the characters.
It's just Warner Brothers is going to be like, oh my goodness, you mean I guess we have to listen to our audience. We can't just do whatever we want.
I just want a Steppenwolf movie where he's just doing the the sad eyes.
Well, I've seen several articles and stuff of people saying, look, this is the exact reason why you just need to follow what the fans are asking for, because compare this movie to the original one that you liked. And you like this Justice League.
I
fans
think,
like this one.
I think the comic book verse, and as crappy as the DC movies have been, that they up to this point, all right,
not all of
them.
Pretty
Okay,
crappy.
chill, put your guns down. All right, what I'm saying, what I'm saying is that they've like radicalized the DC comic book fanboys more than like the MCU, since they were all pretty good movies. You know, they haven't really radicalized, so nobody really cares how source materialed the MCU is in comparison to the DCU.
It's like MCU. It's like a movie comes out and everybody's like, hey, that was really good.
Yeah.
Then another one comes out, it's like, you know what? Wasn't your best work.
Yeah.
Then another one comes out, it's like, hey, we like that one.
Yeah.
And then DC is just like, bruh, no, we don't want this. Get the other guy. And it's like, pitchforks and, torches, and there's like a mob.
So I think that Warner Brothers is going to have to be like, all right, we have to do it exactly as the comic books say, or else we're going to get it, firebombed.
No, it's not about being exactly like the comics. It's just
Make a good movie.
if you're going to make a character, it doesn't have to follow the same story, but at least make the character like he is in the comics. You wouldn't want Tony Stark being some bubbly, like, happy-go-lucky Spider-Man kind of personality.
You didn't know that Steppenwolf was a transgender gay guy?
From space.
From space. He identifies as a space
Tree.
Tree. Sure. There's already a space tree. I can't do that
I
one.
am Groot.
I am Groot.
Anyways, we will move on to my news, which a little bit still involves DC. The Black Adam movie, which is The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be coming out in December. They just announced that Pierce Brosnan is going to be in the movie. He's going to play Dr. Fate, which for the most part he'll just be voice acting, because Dr. Fate wears the big gold metal helmet.
Mm-hmm.
You got Hawkman, which is Aldous Hodge, which he was the cop in Invisible Woman or Invisible Man. He was that cop, so he's going to be Hawkman. And then
Hawkman.
Atom Smasher, which will be Noah Centineo, which he's been in some Netflix movies. He was in, I haven't seen this, but it's All All the Boys I Loved Before, that Netflix series.
Never watched that.
I hadn't either. But he plays Peter in that, so some people might know who that is. But it's a movie that, it's along the lines of Shazam. It's the same kind of thing, except for this is technically Shazam's evil counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes he's good. It kind of just depends on
The situation.
Yeah, the situation.
Depends on the context.
Yeah. If you're attacking his homeland, he's going to protect it. If,
Someone offers him a lot of money to do something,
yeah.
he's like, all right.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I'll work in the gray area of the law.
The next thing I have is there's a new horror movie called In the Earth, which was filming last year. This is like one of the few movies that continued to film anyways, because there's really like 2 or 3 people on the set the entire time, other than the cameramen. It's In the Earth, which takes place during the epidemic. Scientists and a park ranger go into the woods to check out their equipment that they have set up to record. It said something, but
science stuff.
Yeah, and essentially the forest comes alive around them, which it's supposed to be akin more towards like a horrifying mythology around Mother Nature, as far as like they're trying to mess with Mother Nature, and she kind of goes back at them.
This just sounds like that bit from The Wizard of Oz where the trees are throwing apples at Dorothy.
Well, they portray Mother Nature as like this kind of witch-looking thing in the mythology books and stuff they're talking about in the trailer. But it seems interesting. It's going to be directed by Ben Wheatley, which he did his most notable thing is he did a show called maybe it was a movie called High Rise, which was with Tom Hiddleston and Jeremy Irons and Luke Evans. But
I want this movie to try to tie in like other like mythological movies, like The Happening. Like this is like all part of that. Knowing it's part of that, and then yeah, Mark Wahlberg looking confused for an hour and a half, or Santa's sleigh. I want that to all be in the same universe.
But yeah, this is supposed to come out towards the end of April, and then my last bit of news: Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, it'll be coming out that week on the 31st.
5 days.
All right, well.
That's all I got for news.
So watching a
reviews.
big monkey beat up a big lizard.
Probably vice versa.
Team Godzilla.
I'll watch it. It's free. I mean, on HBO, so, whatever.
Free for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch.
I'm subscribed to HBO.
Oh, you are? Okay, I didn't know that.
So
I just have your login info.
I'm subscribed to Disney, HBO, Netflix. I have Hulu for free for my phone plan, and Amazon, and CBS, which is now Paramount, which is how I watch Sanjay and Greg, by the way. It's the only way.
I've got Peacock. That's the newest thing that I've gotten.
But that's free too, isn't it?
Well, you can have
Isn't it?
You can have limited stuff for free, or then you can have subscription, which I got because I got to watch my wrestling.
The
pay-per-views.
I gotta watch my wrestling.
The Peacock.
Wrestling.
That's funny that a network called Peacock bought the Wrestling Federation.
Hey, they bought it for I think $1.2 billion. So
let me razzle you with my feathers. Distraction. Throat punch. Whoopsh. All right, TV shows. I watched a TV show on Netflix called Behind Her Eyes. It's a 6-hour miniseries. So, and the wife really wanted to watch it. I was like, nah, I don't want to watch this chick flick crap. And I watched the first episode, and I was like, eh. And I watched the second episode, and I was like,
Then you were like,
yeah. And then by the end of it, I was like, wow. So it's pretty good. It's definitely an adult TV show, so not family friendly. There's like sex, nudity, language, and violence.
Was that a question?
I'm trying to remember. The way they do violence in the show is kind of strange. It's not like visceral. It's more like psychological.
Violence is never the answer. It's the question.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
Where did I just heard that somewhere. Anyways, so it takes place in England, in London, and there's a woman. She meets her new boss, who's a psychologist, and she's a secretary. But they don't know that they're working for each other yet. And when they meet at a bar, they hit it off. He kisses her, and he's like, "I shouldn't have done that," and then he runs off. And next day, you see that she's working for him, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Awkward.
Yeah. And then you find out he's married. His wife is kind of psycho, and things ensue. She's a druggie, his wife, She went to rehab, and they keep doing flashbacks to rehab and what happened in there, the people that she met in rehab, and then, the husband and the secretary, they're trying to, like, reconcile their relationships for each other. They're having a hard time despite things. He's trying to break away from his wife. He's been trying to do that for a long time. He can't because you're led to believe that she's, like, holding him at gunpoint, basically, to stay in the marriage. The short of it is, about episode 3 or 4 into the 6-episode TV show, this, I don't want to say supernatural, but something happens. And then it just completely derails what you expect the plot to be.
Okay.
And it was one of the coolest ways, I think, that they could have depicted, how the plot goes forward. I don't want to spoil anything because I really do think this is a pretty interesting original story. And the setting's good. The characters are good. The characters just sell it for sure. The actors and stuff like that. The lead actress, her name is
Eve Hewson.
Yeah, Eve Hewson. She's Bono's daughter. The psychiatrist is Tom Bateman. And
Bateman.
Any relation
to Norman?
Jason Bateman?
Oh, no, he's from Scotland.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure. I just knew the last name.
Every Smith that pops out there, they're all related. Simona Brown, she's the more or less the main girl. And, so I would recommend it. It's got mixed reviews. It's floats between like a 6 and an 8 on all the major reviewer peoples out there. But I would give it an 8. I think it's pretty solid. I think the gratuitous sex and stuff like that is probably just a little fan service stuff. You don't really need any of that. I'm at the age now where if I see sex scenes and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, all right. I see what you're trying to do here, But, like, I feel like adults, male, that really only applies when you're, like, 17 to, like, 25. And then after that, I think we become wise enough where we're like, you're trying to just, like, cater to my primal whatever. I'm not doing this. Nah.
You can't Game of Thrones me.
Nah. Yeah. So, I think they could do a little bit without that. Is that what happened to you? Tommy saw some Game of Thrones and he was like, oh.
Oh, I got that show way later. Like season 5 had just come out when I started watching it.
Everybody started that show late.
Season 3?
Yeah, I started at season 3. Anyway, it's a good show. I'd recommend that you both watch it, and I'd be interested if you did watch it because it is such a trippy story to do a spoiler special on it.
What's it?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix, you said?
Mm-hmm. 6
God,
hours.
pay attention.
I'm sorry. I was
Yeah.
trying to look up information about it at the same time.
So
Then you would have saw it was on Netflix.
It doesn't say that on
You
IMDb.
did poor research.
I think it being like an original story, and if we can encourage the audience to watch it, we could do a little spoiler special about it and talk more. But yeah, all right, cool.
It also says it's based after a book too.
I'm sure it is. It felt very like novel narrative driven. But anyways, that's my show. I'm going to talk about news coming out, and I completely forgot the show that I was going to talk about. Stranger Things Season 4. All right. It's been announced. It's coming out, I think, probably next year. I think the whole Corona mishap just derailed their production history, and this is going to be the last season.
Didn't they have like a trailer for it a while back?
It was like a teaser, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was something like a teaser.
It was just the little Stranger Things 4 in the background.
It was like, oh.
Okay.
There's snow and stuff. The only announcement that the Duffer Brothers, the people who made the show, have made is that Hopper will be back for sure.
Well, yeah, he was in the end credit scene.
Yeah, but they put him on ice essentially because they weren't sure if his stupid Devil Boy, Hellboy, was going to take off.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I guess he was contractually obligated with that. If it were to take off, you'd have to do those movies.
Yeah.
And instead, it flopped like terrible.
Nobody can be Hellboy other than Ron Perlman.
Yeah. So
Or that cat that looks like Ron Perlman.
he came screaming back to the Strangers Things.
Pay me.
Yeah. So and they got it worked out. So we'll see what happens with that. I find it interesting that they're not going to try and catch this cow anymore. And they just want to do 4 seasons. It feels like it's been on for like 8 seasons. It's only had 3 seasons out.
Well, that's because
I haven't watched any of them.
like the first season, and then it's almost like they skipped a year. Then they had the second season, And it was like a year and a half before they had the third season. So.
Yeah. They do milk it. I mean, like these, I don't know. They're supposed to be like 7, 8-year-old kids. I think they're like 16, 17, 18 now. So
Well,
They're
because
in college.
it's like Peaky Blinders. It came out in 2012. They're fixing to have season 6.
wow. Well,
So,
to be fair,
Well, no,
Peaky
it's an
Blinders,
English show. It's called their series.
To be fair, Peaky Blinders is about adults that like mount an empire
Well, yeah.
over the course of 20 years. So I could buy that.
Yeah.
But these kids supposed to be in like riding their little bikes,
Yeah.
you know, going to middle school or whatever.
You watch, as the seasons go on, their voices are cracking and like they're getting deeper. One of them you could tell has to shave.
Well, like season 1, they were what, like
7, 8.
Yeah, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be like, what, 2 years later, essentially in the series almost.
Which is my nightmare, by the way. Just maining a TV show with child actors. Oh, I don't know how they do it. I mean, kudos to them. They did a good job. All those kids are talented, whatever, but that'd be just terrible.
I know, like the main kid, he's like 6 foot tall now.
Yeah, Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah.
Not a porn star. Okay.
Finn Wolfhard.
That's his name. That's his
Was he like a Viking
That's-
warrior?
birth name. Yeah. So her and then Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, she's fixing to be in the,
She's in the Godzilla
Godzilla.
franchise.
and she's like, full grown adult now.
Somebody got in trouble for talking to her. Like,
Like you're not
I
allowed
think,
to.
I think it was Drake. He was like tweeting weird stuff to her or whatever.
Drake is.
That sounds
freaking
about
weird.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
And people were like, dude, she's 11. Chill out. You know.
She's 11, quote unquote.
Well, she is, yeah. The character and the whatever. So, yeah, we'll be interested to see what happens to Stranger Things. If I doubt it'll come out this year. If it does, it'll be at the very end of the year. They keep showcasing winter, like snowy backdrops. So maybe early next year.
I'd seen a while back when we researched it before the coronavirus took off, shut everything down. They was talking about there was like Christmas lights on set and stuff like for the decorations. So they thought it was going to come out last Christmas, and then it got pushed back. So
Well, we'll see what happens.
COVID.
I'm sure they haven't shot everything yet. There's no way, especially with like Millie Bobby Brown having all of her Godzilla stuff that she's been doing. She's been busy.
Yeah, she has to go be in the background in Godzilla versus
and then
Kong.
the Finn, he's going to be in the new Ghostbusters Afterlife.
That's
so he's
right.
been in
Well,
that
that's
too.
been shot for like 2 or 3 years.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to come out in July.
Like he's
last
gonna bring his grandchildren when the premiere happens. All right, TV show's done. Video games,
Guys,
go for it.
I played Super Mario Brothers 35.
35.
It makes me feel so old.
Because then we played Super Mario Brothers 1.
Yeah, Well, you just had a birthday, so you're 28.
Yes.
And the earliest Super Mario's that you remember is what?
Mario Kart.
The earliest one you remember playing, like, first.
Mario Kart and like Super Mario on 64.
Yeah,
Or Super Mario 64. That was my first introduction.
64. I remember like going from Super Nintendo. The earliest one I ever played was NES.
Yeah.
But I thought video games were what rich people had. So to my surprise, on my 5th birthday, I got not a Nintendo, but a Super Nintendo.
And you're like, I didn't know we were rich.
Yeah, I blew my mind. I was like, we're going to be okay. But going from the 16-bit side-scrolling Super Mario to a 64 where you could move not just this way and that way, but that way and the other way and all the ways.
That would be left and right.
I could
for people
adjust
listening.
the camera.
Oh, it blew my mind. It just floored me. That
Just
that
melted.
There was you could move in circles and whatnot.
His vernacular changed. He was just, I'd say, like, as a little kid, he'd be like, oh my God. He was like, exquisite.
It's crazy that, like, I mean, all Mario was in 64 was just a block.
Yeah.
Like, it was 64 bits, which means he had to do a polygon out of 64 shapes. Imagine that. It's like origami with Mario. All right. But that blew my mind.
Woohoo!
Today, we're like, I don't know. The shading of that guy's gun holster on his hip looks a little weird off. I don't like how it's clipping. This game's trash.
Garbage. Get it out of here. Delete it.
I don't like it.
So it's a battle royale game.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
With 35 players.
Oh, I remember you explained a little bit. Okay, yeah.
So you go through and you have 35 seconds for each course. But if you take out enemies, get coins, and get power-ups, that you can increase the time and you can keep going and going and going. So you start and like you see like everybody who's in like individual levels, and you just go for it and you start playing, and then like when you die, it's like, oh, you know, they'll show you the rankings of everybody else who's already bought it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, 35th place, 34th, and then, you know, you see where you're at, and then you can spectate, and you're watching dudes just like speed run through, and I'm just like, I'm not that quick.
Is the level random?
No, I think you get to pick.
Okay.
I only have the one level unlocked. I don't know how to open up or unlock other ones.
The game is free, right?
It was free, yes.
Okay.
It might be off the store because I think it was only available till the 31st.
So
or the 21st.
Off the Nintendo Switch store.
Yes.
So the object of the game is to be the last person alive, obviously.
Yes.
There's no flagpole to reach or whatever at the end until you
I mean, yeah, you hit the flagpole and then you go into another level and you just keep it going.
Oh.
Apparently, from what I watched.
So we should pit the world's best speed because there's a guy who like beat like no crap the game in like 45 seconds or something stupid like that. He beat all of I think it really is like less than 5 minutes. Let me find out.
But it's been out I think it came out last year at the very end of last year, like around December, something on the store for free.
Okay.
And I was looking for something to play, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I was like, oh, I haven't played this, and I was like, what's this all about? And then I did like a couple of practice ones.
4 minutes 55 seconds.
Damn,
Number 1.
that is quick.
Minland Miniland. I don't know where that is or who that is.
Minland Mini. I don't think that's his name.
I don't know if it's a place, but yeah, less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
The whole game. I haven't even beaten the game.
That was 32 years ago.
Which I didn't know that game came out 35 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, it was 85, 86. Was
yeah, I think it was 1985.
How
old are you?
I'm 30. I'll be 34 this year. So in 2 or 3 months.
You're old.
I am. Mitch is reserved and silent.
He's 40.
I was 33.
28. Yeah. So I did like playing it. I did a couple of the battle royales, and like the first one I messed up, so I came in 35th place, and then the next one I managed to make it to like 23rd, and I was like, okay. And then when I didn't have any of the other levels unlocked, it's like you just beat it as quickly as you can, and then you wait for everybody else to die, and it just places you based on how many points you did.
Wow.
So I couldn't crack the top 10, and I couldn't figure out how to get more levels, and like I even went to like practice modes, and you just still have the only one.
Huh.
So.
You got to buy them.
Yeah, you got to pay to win.
Because it's free, you got to buy the other levels.
You got to get your loadout drop.
I got to get my loadout. I got to use the far. So it was fun. It's repetitive. I think if you were playing with people and going through and doing it, it'd probably be more fun versus just kind of playing on your own.
We should try it sometime.
It wasn't bad. I get like a 6 out of 10.
Oh,
it was fun. It was a little nostalgic.
For free.
For free. Yeah, for free, you cannot complain.
Yeah.
So.
News.
Some news.
Yes.
They're making a Ghost of Tsushima movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you say it, Tsushima.
Based on the PlayStation
4. Yeah, it was the PlayStation 4. It was like their first like standalone project, I think, for the new console.
Okay.
It actually got nominated for Game of the Year.
So who made Ghost? Is it Ninja Theory?
Yes.
All right. So they are the ones that did...
developed by Sucker Punch Productions.
Oh, I don't know who that is. So are they having any input at all into the movies?
It would seem so. It's going to be directed by Chad Stileski, who co-directed John Wick and then directed John Wick 2 and 3 and is going to do 4. And he was also part of the Uncharted series of movies that's going to be coming out. This is supposed to be like in concert with Sony and
this try-hard, cause, this movement of trying to make a video game movie successful. It's just so funny that people, like the Assassin's Creed movie, I think is probably the closest comparison to this.
Probably.
And it did terrible. It flopped miserably.
That's because they were too set on trying to go back and forth from present day to old style.
Yeah.
Which for a movie, there's just not
which everybody should have known. That's what everybody hated about the first Assassin's Creed was you were just, puttering around as Desmond waiting to go back to the aim so you could be Altair and be
So the Ghost of whatever
Tsushima
is it's a supernatural samurai type game, right?
Apparently you play as a samurai who joins forces with other local warriors on the island of Tsushima.
I don't think it's supernatural, though.
To fend off a Mongolian invasion fleet led by Khotun Khan.
I'm thinking of Shadows Die Twice.
I think so. Because this one, I think, is supposed to be based after, like, this guy's dynasty, or what do you call it, daimyo or whatever, has died, and he's like basically a Ronin trying to go back. And
I remember
take
this
over
game.
all this
So
stuff.
when this game came out, there was a movement that was pissed about it because it was an American-based studio that made a Japanese origin game.
Yeah.
And then all the Japanese people were like, "This is a great game.
This is awesome. What are you guys complaining about?
Yeah, so
Because it's America, we like to complain.
I think it sold like 6.4 million copies.
Yeah.
And it got nominated for Game of the Year. It's like one of
PlayStation only, right?
yeah, it's one of PlayStation's best games, especially one that came out pretty recently as its own standalone for the new console.
Well, cool. I hope that it works well.
I mean, the plot sounds cool.
It sounds like a movie plot, so
It does sound like a movie plot.
it'd be interesting to see how they, because I do think that if you have a movie set in an Eastern, feudal environment, you probably need to have some subject matter experts from that place to help work on your movie set.
Yeah.
You can't just Google everything.
And I think the director, Chad Stileski, I think him doing this, especially for fight scenes, is probably going to be for the best because the fight scenes in John Wick are awesome.
Right, yeah. Cool. News and reviews done. We have 15 minutes to talk about MMORPGs.
And the punishment.
So there's a YouTube series online that talks about the history of MMORPGs, and I did not know how involved they were in like the current way video games are developed. First off, what is an MMORPG? Stands for multi-massive online role-playing game. So, what's the first MMORPG you guys ever remember seeing or hearing? Mitch.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
RuneScape.
You do? Okay, RuneScape.
I'd never heard. I wouldn't know. I've never played World of Warcraft.
We used to play that in middle school in like the computer lab.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that one.
So there's a first version of that called like Deviant Play or Mud, or I think it was called Deviant Mud.
Crap like that.
And there's no existing gameplay of it, but the developer made it so all of the memory of the game would be on the software itself, so you could just access it through the internet and then play it anywhere, knowing that kids would want to play at school. That's why he put the word deviant in there. And then like he got better. I think he actually ended up making RuneScape and stuff like that. But yeah, RuneScape was the only MMO that I could think of as a kid that you could play solely off the internet. You didn't have to download anything.
Yeah, you just go to the website and just start. You just make a character and off you went.
Yeah.
And you're just killing goblins in a town. So
there was a game. The first game I ever saw MMORPG was a game called EverQuest. All right, and I remember I was like 8 years old. I went to a friend's house, and he was like, "Hey, let's go see this guy named Kyle." And I was like, "All right." And Kyle was like their creepy neighbor that played video games, but like on an elite level. So we went over, and I didn't understand why you wanted to show me this guy's computer game. And he was like, "Show him EverQuest." And I was like, "What is this game?" So he boots it up, and he gets his character, and his character's got all of his armor and stuff like that. And then, like, I see just people. I see people running around just in the background, and I'm like, "What's with those characters?" And he's like, "Oh, those are actual people." And I was like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, there's hundreds of people in this game all playing together to try and do stuff together or kill each other." And I was like, "Whoa." Blew my mind. Never knew anything like that could exist. And MMORPGs, this was back in like 1996. No, this I think EverQuest was 98, 99. So MMORPGs had existed. Pretty much the first one happened in the 80s, and it was this game called Maze Quest. And all they could do was figure out how to get people to go into a maze together, and then eventually they figured out how to shoot rockets at each other. So inevitably, it was the first-person shooter. So, but from there, there's a documentary on YouTube. I want to give this guy credit because he's actually really good.
I never even played an online game until, 2007 with the 360? That's the first time I'd even played online games.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't realize MMOs were been around this long.
We were RuneScaping it up, and then a couple of my friends we played Warcraft, but when I got into Warcraft, it was Warcraft 2.
Okay.
And then Warcraft 3 had come out, and then they're like,
which is not Warcraft. An MMORPG.
No, it's not.
It's just a.
And then World of Warcraft came out, and I played that for like a week, and I was like, I don't really like this.
It's not for everybody. World of Warcraft was definitely the first MMO that like sold. Like, I was sold on because it was a. Honestly, I think the thing that makes MMORPGs work so well.
A South Park episode about it.
well, that happened years later. But before that happened, when I was playing, it was more about like there's a world going on when you're not on. Like you have the fear of missing out kind of thing, and your friends and your guilds are killing dragons or collecting money. They're beating other players and stuff like that.
Or you're being hunted across the galaxy because you pulled a space heist.
Yeah, and you're not online to partake with it, and it just makes you like that's all you think about. It's this weird addictive, almost the destructive addictive kind of thing.
Then you should talk about your EVE Online.
Yeah. Well, EVE Online came later, but so an MMORPG is a game where everybody can log on, and they play in this universe with what's called an avatar or a toon or whatever, and you get you fight monsters with friends, or you fight people with friends, and you collect stuff to make your character better, until you're like the best guy that ever lived, which nobody ever is. So, World of Warcraft probably is the quintessential what people consider to be the online modern multiplayer game.
Mm-hmm.
It has since then spiraled out of control. There's versions of games that play where there's only like 60 people per server, but then you do what's called sharding or shared servers, where they have 1,000 servers and whatnot, and the servers work together to bunch 120 people in one server or one planet or one whatever, And so the way that the internet technology has evolved to make online gaming experiences, I mean, it's now a rarity that there are video games that work offline. Most video games require internet access, even if it's single-player games.
Yeah. Just dumb.
So everything is dependent upon this. And if I can pull this guy's phone, this guy's information, here it is. It's called Vress Games. No, I'm sorry, Josh Strife Hayes. And it's the channel is called Our Virtual World on YouTube. And he does a history of MMORPGs, and he's got like 5 episodes that are about 20 minutes long. But to see how they impact gaming and internet and technology, like honestly, internet boomed because of MMORPGs. At one point, you had to subscribe to a specific server if you wanted to play a game, like EverQuest or something like that. You had to spend $10. There was a game in the early, 1987, I'd say. It was remember Red Baron? Does anybody remember that game?
No.
Okay, they had an online version of that game. It was $10 an hour to play that game.
Jeez.
Because you had to subscribe to their internet provider.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
So people flipped out. They didn't want to do that anymore. And then, long story short, people were like, all right, how do we, now that internet is becoming a more broadened spectrum with AOL and stuff like that, how do we make it all-encompassing internet? So what they did was that instead of subscribing to the internet provider, you subscribe to the game, and the game pays for whatever internet service that you're doing for them. And people, for some reason, bought that a lot easier. So, but $10 a week or a month compared to an hour.
No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's really fascinating watch if you want to see how much video games have impacted our current understanding of internet.
And there's been a lot of these that have come out recent times for every big thing. There's the Harry Potter one.
Yeah.
There's a Harry Potter online. There's Star Wars online.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings had one. Marvel had one. DC had theirs. The DC Universe online.
Everything does.
Everything does.
And the problem I'd say is that 99% of all currently produced MMORPGs are cookie cutter, like these Korean studios. That put in these fetch quest mentalities of
you're here, go here and do this.
Go kill these level 2 crabs, get level 3. Now go kill these level 4 crabs.
Get level 5.
Yeah, and just
go over here. It's just a grind fest,
grinding all the way up to the max level
until you're immortal.
Yeah, and then at that point you're just like, now what? What do we do now? So
the only thing I liked about Star Wars Online was I actually started with a lightsaber, and I was like, oh, finally a game where I could just have it off the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. But, there are some offshoots. For instance, EVE Online is probably the most...
It's a little more complicated.
It's very complicated. It's the most, anything that you think you could do in could imagine doing in a video game, you could do it in EVE Online. I
There's
played.
also a lot of money involved.
Well, there is. It's real money. So it's $15 a month to subscribe, but it's a tangible resource. It's called these plexes. And so to make a long story short, you buy that resource and you can either exchange it for your subscription or trade with it or whatever. Well, I got to the point where it got so powerful in the game, I started running heists to steal people's money, like their plexes, which was $15. I stole $120 from somebody once or thereabouts, you know? And then it's totally like, I'm not violating any rules or anything like that, but people hate you. Like, they want to find you.
Yeah.
So they put bounties out on you, and, you know, all sorts of crazy stuff happens for people try to kill you. And you just got to figure out, like, if you're going to be that kind of devious character, you know, how do you
get away with
how
it?
to get away with it? Like, I had made alternate characters where I was like conning people into giving me their vault access and stuff like that, and robbing them blind. You know,
Weren't you being like hunted?
I was at one point. I was like, there's a bounty list, and there's only one server in East, so that means that, like, I think at one point their highest numbers was 300 to 500,000 players online at once. And there's a bounty list. It's like the top 10,000 people, and I had just made it over under 1,000. So yeah,
I'm sensing a theme in your characters that you create.
look, I play video games to do what I can't do in real life. So
Yeah, you have a lot of sneaking around and thievery in every character you
Stealth.
create.
but when
Sneak 100.
when I ranked 998 on the bounty list, I had to quit the game because everybody wanted to kill me. So
You're just like, I can't play the game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just running for
I
my life.
was, and all the hate mail and death threats and stuff like that. I was like, I'm just gonna take a break for a little while.
I don't want to play this anymore.
I never came back. So yeah, that's the future of MMOs, is literally being able to do whatever you want. But
You didn't con your bounty into like them, like, you know, getting you,
I-
getting the money, and then you like pull a jailbreak.
nobody talks to you. They see your bounty number and they just try to kill you immediately. There's nothing you can do about it. But
Like,
that's the example. Like, and all of it stems from like old school D&D, MMORPGs. Whatever you can do on pen and paper, they try and figure out how to do it in a virtual capacity online. And we're getting closer and closer and better. For instance, there's a game that we're playing now called Bless Unleashed.
well, 2 out of the 3 of us are.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So
I'll get there.
It's a online MMORPG, and it's I don't know, cookie cutter World of Warcraft for the
Yeah.
most part. There's the updated graphics and action and stuff like that, but we'll probably put more content about that and how we grow and play that one, just because we kind of want to make this more of a thing, not talk about Warzone nonstop and stuff like that.
I'm almost level 12.
Already?
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right.
So I'm
Power didn't really go out of his house.
I'm only like a 6 or something.
No, I played from like 10 o'clock till like 1 a.m. before
Yeah.
you got on what was it, Wednesday? And
Well,
then, so
if you want to play with us, the game is free on all the major consoles and stuff. I'm sure on the computer or whatever. We can work out a time to play together and stuff like that and figure it out. By all means, we'll probably post more content about it in the future. Stay in touch, and we'll talk about it. Thank you. Moving on to the Wheel of Death. Come on, time. Hurry up, time.
I hate you.
he just puts the phone. Punished. Hayden.
No! No! Why?
Was it?
It's Hayden by me for video games.
Sure, I had a movie and TV show. Why not? I think I actually had 2 TV shows.
Hang on. I think this is a video game. It might not be. I don't remember. Leisure Suit Larry box office bomb.
All right. I'm probably just going to have to watch videos on it because I'm not going to buy this stupid game. Is it on the Xbox?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Wasn't this like almost rated adults only?
Yes.
Why do I have to watch this crap? Why you guys make
But it's like all, animated characters.
so?
That's what
Yeah,
makes
there's
it
like
funny.
playthroughs and
All right. Just play a trailer or opener or something.
I don't know if there's a trailer.
Can you explain to me the premise of the game?
No, because I don't even know what it is. Oh, yeah, here's a trailer. Oh, this is on PS3 and the 360.
Ugh.
I'm sure it's backwards compatible.
I'm sure it is.
May contain mature content.
Making those beautiful graphics. Are they playing Mad World?
But there's like
They are playing Mad World.
That's where all their money went.
What? Is that a blow-up doll?
I think so.
Why is he looking at us like he's...
I don't know. Why are they doing like the Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
I'm not sure really what's going on.
So he's being chased by
talking-
people. Now he's talking to some babes.
And she just kicked him.
Okay. Are they like zombies?
Look at that run.
He's got a crossbow. Okay, so he's killing zombies.
What is going on?
I don't
He's
know.
stopping to watch the yoga.
Slipping on a banana peel. Goes through a window at a different angle.
The physics don't work that way.
Boobs.
So he's like a giant. That trailer didn't explain anything
No,
about it.
it explained
It
nothing.
was just a montage of wild craziness and boobs. All right, well,
Bow, bow.
So
we're excited to hear this compelling review next episode as I get punished again.
As Hayden slowly loses his mind.
Yeah. All right. I think after this next punishment, though, we need to write some rules.
There needs to be some.
Why?
Anytime he gets punished more than twice, it's like we need legislation.
I
mean,
petition.
I remember getting punished 5 times in a row.
Yeah, it was funny back then. It's not funny anymore.
I got punished 3 times, and then it was somebody
Yeah,
else got
I went like
punished.
6 in a row or something.
I remember going 3, missing a week, and then 5.
And for a while, it was just Tom's weekly punishment review.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun. But see, that's not fun anymore. So, all right.
Now I'm
well,
enjoying it.
Stay tuned for episode 51. We're approaching a whole year. Of entertainment.
Insane.
I mean, technically, it's been a year since we started, but
Well,
a
I mean,
full 52 episodes.
we went through some downtime, but yeah.
Yeah.
Bow, bow.
All right. See you next week. Goodbye from Mitch.
Bye.
Bye, Mitch.
Goodbye from Tom.
Bye, Tom.
Goodbye from me. Hey, goodbye.
Bye.
I've had this since like we started the show.
I found a good one.
It's not the way you want it.
Yeah, since you got Mr. T, I found a new TV show.
It's a new Mr. T show.
Yeah. Came on NBC in the 90s.